Welcome to the Weather Guru podcast for July 1st, 2022. Thank you for joining me. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, The Weather Guru, for the latest weather news and weather conditions for America, as well as tropical news for the lower 48 states. Today, we're going to start out with the tropical update, and then we're going to get into the hazards for the lower 48, as well as what we can expect for the weekend and some world weather news. Okay? So, first, I want to get right into it, guys. We have what was potential with the tropical update. We have in the Caribbean basin, we have potential tropical cyclone 2, which has now just become tropical storm Bonnie as of 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, so we have tropical storm Bonnie out here. Winds are currently at 35 knots or 40 miles an hour. Pressure's at 1,005 millibars. It's still moving rather fast. West at 16 knots or 18 miles an hour. So it has a 90% chance of further development here, and it is continuing to make a westward beeline toward the Nicaragua, Honduras coastline, okay, and some effects to northern Panama as well. But most of the convection and rain will be north of there. So we have the people in Central America going to be affected by this system here. And let's give some structural updates on this system. Now, this system had a hard time organizing here as it swept across. It was at a very southern latitude, very rare. For storms to cross the ABC islands of Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, and Venezuela, northern Venezuela. Very rare. Since 50 years of weather record keeping, have we seen this before, guys? And so this is very rare. So the storm came across, brought heavy rain to Venezuela and the ABC islands and gusty winds up to 50 knots, 50 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour. Now it's very form. It's a ball of convection now, and it's going to be a tropical storm here shortly. It is a tropical storm now. So we have Bonnie on our hands here. Bonnie is a tropical storm. Data from the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunters indicate that disturbance has now become a tropical storm Bonnie over the Southwest Caribbean Sea. Winds remain at 40 miles an hour, okay, 65 kilometers. So it's about, the positioning is about 230 miles east-southeast of Bluefields, Nicaragua. So we're looking at a landfall here very, very shortly. Will be making a landfall here in southern Nicaragua on early Saturday morning at 2 a.m. Or somewhere around that time frame. Now, what's interesting is this storm is going to continue and exit into the Eastern Pacific Basin and may become a hurricane up by Mexico later on Wednesday after the holidays of this week. So that's very interesting here. It's going to cross over the Nicaraguan, the Central America Peninsula there, and Costa Rica, and it's going to emerge into the Eastern Pacific later on Saturday, probably 3 p.m. Saturday or thereabouts. And then by Sunday and Monday, it's going to remain a tropical storm. And then it's going to become a hurricane by next week, Wednesday. We're looking at a minimal hurricane here for Bonnie. So that is the forecast for Bonnie here. So the key messages that National Hurricane Center says that heavy rainfall is going to fall across Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Could be about, anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of rainfall coming in there. Hurricane conditions are possible, so a hurricane watch area has been extended for Nicaragua for this evening and tonight. Tropical storm conditions will begin today, obviously, on San Andreas, along with and Costa Rica and Nicaragua, and tropical storm warnings will continue to be impacted through the night. And then, of course, early Saturday morning, 1, 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, this coming morning, you'll see some gusts to hurricane force. Tropical storm winds will continue anywhere from 60 miles an hour and above, okay? So that's the key messages here. Now, we do have another system that we're monitoring in the tropics here. This system is just approaching the Windward Islands, about 100 miles east of the Windward Islands here, just to the east of Barbados and all of that. Guys, this only be given a 10% chance of development, and this is because of it's going over the same areas that tropical storm Bonnie went over, and that's creating some upwelling. It has to go over those areas. So upwelling is when the cool water comes up to the surface from another system that has previously moved by, and so that's why it's unfavorable conditions there for development there. Now, I'm gonna look at the satellite here. I'm gonna show you the satellite. There it is. You see a blob of convection, and also it's dealing with some wind shear. It's dealing with some wind shear and Sahara dust layer as well, and so most of the convection is sheared off to the east and southeast of this system here, as you can see, and that's why the National Hurricane Center is only giving it a 10% chance of development. both in the next 48 hours and through 5 days. Is this organized? So that's why we have another strong wave coming off the coast of Africa, but this wave here is coming off. It should merge after the weekend, so we'll watch that coming up on Tuesday or Wednesday, coming out the coast. But elsewhere, the Atlantic Basin, North Atlantic Basin is quiet. There's a cold front that moved out the coast of the Americas, and that's well east of Bermuda, 400 miles east of Bermuda now, and keep continuing moving on. And it's clear in the Gulf of Mexico. Besides those, the showers along the Houston, Port Arthur, Beaumont coastline, there is that disturbance that we had a couple of days ago moved in. The Eastern Pacific, we have a 50% chance of development for a system offshore southern Mexico. This could be our next system here. I believe it'll be a D-name storm, so that should be coming up on probably, like I said, once again, that's going to develop on Monday on July the 4th. And then Hawaii, you look good out in the Central Pacific. No, nothing there. There's a few high cirrus clouds above you in the Big Island and some of the small islands. You look absolutely fabulous. So, guys, now we're going to turn our attention to the hazards that we have here. As you know, there's an ongoing fire danger, but the fire danger has shifted somewhat. It used to be the fire danger was in New Mexico primarily, and some parts of West Texas and some parts of eastern Arizona. Now the fire danger, the red flag warning, has shifted up into the rim of the Grand Canyon, the Las Vegas area, eastern Nevada, and western New Mexico to include part of the Salt Lake City metro. So the monsoonal flow, the southern jet stream, has helped to quell the fire dangers in New Mexico, and ironically, they have some flood watches along the I-25 corridor north of the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and up into the area there of White Sands, New Mexico, and Alamogordo. They have a flash flood warning up into the North Mountains there, north of Albuquerque, and Taos there. There's a flash flood warning, so a flash flood watch, and be careful if you go in that area. And also, there's a flash flood watch when that tropical depression disturbance that never developed into a tropical depression, but a rainstorm for the Houston metro. So Houston, League City, down through Port Lavaca, all those areas, Beaumont, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Cameron, Louisiana, those areas, you guys are under a flood watch for rain. They've had about 3 to 5 inches of rain combined because we got training, those meaning rain going over the same areas over and over again. That's going on in that area down there. So you want to be careful. You want to watch out for that. Elsewhere, everybody else has absolutely fabulous weather from coast to coast, from the southeast to northeast, up to the upper Midwest, and through the Pacific Northwest, the PNW. Now, hot temperatures are prevailing everywhere, but obviously things are looking much great for this July the 4th. Enjoy your weekend. Now, as far as world weather news, guys, we have, according to AccuWeather.com, there was an extremely biblical swarms of insects like locusts and grasshoppers that ravaged the crops out west, leaving ranchers and farmers to battle the insurgent mess. This is in Nevada. Crickets and locusts, swarms of crickets, locusts, and other bugs crashed highways as they marched across roads. Okay, so they have rising temperatures and the drought in western third of the United States. So these insects went from Nevada to Montana, up to Montana, ravaging crops. You know, the corn, the soybeans, the wheat, you name it. They were there. Mormon crickets got their name back in 1800 when these giant insects ruined the fields of Mormon settlers. The insects are not true crickets, but they're named that. So outbreaks in the West have worsened. They can grow up to 2 inches in length, and they continue to make an impact. So now we got to worry about that as far as the climate change, because the next crops that come up is going to be something that's going to be big. Another story that I want to bring to you, there was an earthquake in South Carolina. Guys. This was in upstate South Carolina, the Midlands, South Carolina, east of Columbia, South Carolina. A swarm of earthquakes around 3.2 magnitude. It wasn't nothing crazy, but still, these earthquake swarms, continue to make their impact in the area. And so we just want to keep our prayers for everybody involved in these dangerous, not just the earthquake, but in these dangerous climate change events that we have out in West, as far as the drought and also the cricket swarms that are destroying crops that are going to affect next year's food supply. So we have to be very mindful of that. For those outside of the United States, we also keep you in our prayers too, because we know that there was some weather events in Europe and other countries too as well that can be very, very devastating to food crop supplies and things of that nature, floods as well, and things of that nature too. Another story that comes up, record high temperatures to scorch Alaska in July. Alaska is having record high temperatures here, guys. It's going to be 10 to 20 degrees above normal out there from Fairbanks to Nome up the north coast there. High pressures in demand. And that because they have an omega pattern. The jet stream is a huge ridge over, the upper jet stream is a huge ridge over the Alaskan Peninsula, guys. And so this is creating very high fire risk, widespread temperatures in the 80s degrees. Fairbanks is going to hit all-time record high. Fairbanks is almost hitting 100 degrees. Fort Yukon hit 100 degrees. Anchorage hit 90 degrees. And these records are going to be challenged as we go through the week here. So the heat wave, our prayers are with those folks in the Alaska cities and our military friends as well there. It's going to be hot. So get prepared. Maybe they enjoy it. Maybe it's the first time they don't see heat in a while. But be blessed, okay? So this is our world weather news, world weather forecast, and tropical weather forecast update for July the 1st, 2022 from the Weather Guru. I'm signing out. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day or evening. Bye-bye.